Yuna stared at the message on her desk screen. She read it 3 times, hoping the words would change. They did not. Assignment: diplomatic mission to Nexus Station. Objective: mediate peace talks between Helix Confederation and Void Dominion. Status: immediate departure required. She leaned back in her chair and rubbed her temples. The Helix Confederation and Void Dominion had been at war for 37 years. Their conflict had destroyed entire star systems. Billions of people had died. Both empires were much stronger than Earth. Both empires saw humans as weak and stupid. "Is impossible," she whispered to herself. Her door chimed. "Come in," she called. Director Park entered her office. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. He'd been running Earth's diplomatic corps for 20 years. "You read the assignment," he said. It was not a question. "Sir, with respect, this makes no sense. The Helix and Void empires hate each other. They also hate us. Last month, they sent away 12 of our best diplomats without even letting them off their ship." Director Park sat down across from her desk. "I know. But the situation has changed." "How?" "The war is getting worse. Both sides are building new weapons. Our intelligence says they can destroy entire solar systems now. If this war continues, it will spread. Our colonies are in the border regions. It will be caught in the middle." Yuna looked at the star map on her wall. Red dots showed human colonies. They were scattered between the 2 great empires like small islands in a dangerous ocean. "Why me?" she asked. "I am only 32 years old. I have never handled anything this big." "That is exactly why we picked you," Director Park said. "You think differently. You do not follow the old rules. The old rules have failed. But sir, I will be alone. 1 human woman against 2 galactic empires? Sometimes one person can do what many cannot," he said. "You have something special, Yuna. You listen to people. You understand them. That is what we need now." Yuna stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the busy streets of New Seoul. Normal people living normal lives. They had no idea that their world might be destroyed soon. "What happened to the last diplomatic team?" she asked. "They tried to use standard protocols. They brought gifts. They made speeches about peace and cooperation. The aliens laughed at them. The Helix delegation said humans were too emotional to understand logic. The Void delegation said humans were too weak to deserve respect." "Oh. And you think I can do better?" "I think you can try something different." Director Park handed her a datapad. "This contains everything we know about both empires. Study it on your way to Nexus Station. Captain Kim Tai-ho will take you there on the fast cruiser Harmony." Yuna took the datapad. It was heavy with information. "How long do I have?" "The summit starts in 6 days. If you fail, both empires will declare the peace talks over. They will go back to war with new weapons. Our colonies will be destroyed." "No pressure at all," Yuna said with a weak smile. "I believe in you," Director Park said. "You have never failed a mission yet. I have never had a mission like this." "No, one has." 2 hours later, Yuna stood in the docking bay of the Harmony. The ship was sleek and fast, built for dangerous missions. Captain Kim Tai-ho met her at the airlock. "Ambassador Lee," he said with a salute. "Welcome aboard." Captain Kim was a man in his 40s with steady eyes and calm voice. He had served in the Space Navy for 20 years. His ship had survived battles with pirates and alien raiders. "You, Captain, how long to reach Nexus Station?" "For days, if we push the engines hard. Are you ready for this?" Yuna looked around the docking bay. Technicians were loading supplies. The ship hummed with power. Soon she would be traveling through space toward 2 alien empires that wanted to kill each other. "I am as ready as I can." "Be," she said. "Good. Let me show you to your quarters. You will want to study during the trip." Her room was small, but comfortable. She had a bed, a desk, and a window that showed the stars. She placed the datapad on the desk and sat down too. The Helix Confederation controlled the northern part of the galaxy. They were tall, thin beings with blue skin and large eyes. They valued logic and mathematics above all else. Their technology was based on energy weapons that could cut through anything. They had conquered 47 worlds using careful planning and superior tactics. The Void Dominion ruled the southern regions. They looked like large insects with black shells and many arms. They believed in survival of the strongest. Their weapons were biological, creating plagues that killed entire populations. They had destroyed 63 civilizations to prove their power. Both empires had technology far beyond Earth. Both had weapons that could destroy planets. Both thought humans were primitive animals who should stay out of important matters. How did we get involved in this? Yuna wondered aloud. She kept reading. The war had started over a disputed star system rich in rare minerals. Both empires claimed it belonged to them. Negotiations had failed. The first battle had been small, just a few ships. But pride and anger had made it grow. Now the war covered 17 star systems. Trade routes were broken. Millions of refugees fled their homes. The galactic economy was collapsing. Other species were choosing sides or hiding in fear. Earth had tried to stay neutral. But human colonies were in the border regions. Both empires demanded that humans pick a side. When Earth refused, both empires became angry. We are trapped. Yuna realized, if we help one side, the other will destroy us. If we help neither side, both will destroy us. She found a file marked Previous Diplomatic Attempts. It made sad reading. The Galactic Council had tried to mediate 12 times. Each attempt had failed. The last mediator, a wise old being from the Centauri Republic, had given up after one day. They do not want peace, he had reported. They want victory. They will not stop until one side is completely destroyed. But that was before the new weapons. Now both sides had the power to destroy each other completely. If they used their worst weapons, both empires would die. The war would end, but there would be no winners. Yuna closed the datapad and looked out the window. The stars were beautiful and distant. Somewhere among them, two great empires were preparing for a final battle that would kill billions. Can one human do against so much hate? She asked herself. She did not know the answer. But she would try to find one. 4 days later, Yuna pressed her face against the window of the Harmony. In the distance, she could see Nexus Station. It was huge, like a metal city floating in space. Around it, two massive fleets waited in the darkness. First time seeing. A diplomatic station? Captain Kim asked, joining her at the window. It is bigger than I expected, Yuna said, and those ships... The Helix Confederation fleet looked like crystal daggers hanging in space. Their ships were smooth and white, with sharp edges that caught the light from the nearby star. Each ship was perfectly positioned, forming neat rows that spoke of discipline and order on the other side of the station. The Void Dominion fleet was completely different. Their ships were dark and curved, looking like giant insects or sea creatures. They moved slowly through space, never staying in the same pattern for long. How many ships? Yuna asked. 200 on each side, Captain Kim said. Enough firepower to destroy a solar system? They are not here to make peace, Yuna said quietly. No, they are here to show strength. Each side wants the other to surrender without fighting. As they got closer, Yuna could see more details. The station had 3 main sections connected by long arms. The center section was for meetings and negotiations. The north arm housed the Helix delegation. The south arm was for the Void representatives. Smart design, Captain Kim said. Keeps the two sides apart. Will that be enough? We will find out. The Harmony docked at the central section. Yuna gathered her belongings and prepared to leave the ship. She had one small bag with her clothes and personal items. She carried the data pad with all her research. Good luck, Ambassador, Captain Kim said. I will stay here in case you need to leave quickly. Thank you, Captain. I hope I will not need that option. I hope so too. Stepped onto Nexus Station. The first thing she noticed was the tension in the air. Everyone moved carefully, speaking in whispers. Security guards stood at every corner, watching for signs of trouble. A woman in a blue uniform approached her. She was about 40 years old, with short black hair and sharp eyes. Ambassador Lee? I am Commander Park Ji-won, Station Security Chief. Welcome to Nexus Station. Thank you, Commander.
Oh, how are things here?
Tense. Both delegations arrived 3 days ago. We have had 2 incidents already. What kind of incidents? Yesterday, a Helix diplomat accused a Void representative of carrying biological weapons. The day before, a Void officer claimed the Helix delegation was using illegal scanning equipment. Both times, we had to activate containment fields to keep them apart. Commander Park led Yuna through the station corridors. The walls were thick metal, designed to stop weapons and explosions. Every door had multiple locks and security scanners. The station was built for this kind of meeting, Commander Park explained. Triple hull, independent life support systems, and enough weapons to defend against a small fleet. Have you needed the weapons? Not yet. Both fleets are on high alert. It's one wrong move, and this place becomes a battlefield. They reached the central command center. Through the windows, Yuna could see both sections of the station. The north arm glowed with white light from the Helix quarters. The south arm was darker, with red lights marking the Void section. How many delegates? Yuna asked. 12 from each side, plus their security teams, technical staff, and servants. About 60 beings total. That is a lot of people with weapons. Yes. We scan everyone daily, but both sides have natural abilities that could be dangerous. The Helix can generate energy fields with their minds. The Void can produce toxic chemicals from their bodies. A tall man in a white coat approached them. He had gentle eyes and moved with careful steps. Ambassador Lee, this is Dr. Choi Minho. Our xenopsychologist, Commander Park said. He studies alien minds and behavior, Dr. Yuna said, shaking his hand. What can you tell me about our guests? They're both scared, Dr. Choi said simply. Scared. They have the largest fleets in the galaxy. That is exactly why they are scared. This war has gone on too long. Both sides have built weapons they are afraid to use. If they fight with their newest weapons, both empires will be destroyed. So why not make peace? Because neither side knows how to stop without losing face. The Helix believe surrender is illogical. Void believe retreat is weakness. They are trapped by their own nature. Dr. Choi led them to his office. The walls were covered with charts and pictures showing alien body language and behavior patterns. The Helix delegation is led by Prime Minister Cleth, he said. She is 200 years old and has never lost a negotiation. She thinks humans are too emotional to understand logic. And the Void delegation? Admiral Sin commands their group. He's a war hero who has conquered 15 worlds. Believes humans are too weak to deserve respect. Wonderful, Yuna said. They both hate us before we even start. Actually, that might help, Dr. Choi said. They both hate you equally. That makes you truly neutral. Commander Park's radio crackled. Commander, we have a situation in the North Arm. The Helix delegation is complaining about noise from the Void section. On my way, Commander Park said. She turned to Yuna. This is typical. Every day, something. New? What kind of noise? Yuna asked. The Void delegation prays by making clicking sounds with their mouths. The Helix find it disturbing because it has no mathematical pattern. Religious differences too? Everything is different, Dr. Choi said. Language, culture, biology, philosophy. They agree on nothing except that the other side should be destroyed. After Commander Park left, Dr. Choi showed Yuna to her quarters. The room was small but comfortable, with a bed, desk, and communications equipment. The window showed a view of space and the waiting fleets. Tomorrow, you will meet both delegations, Dr. Choi said. You ready? I have been thinking about that, Yuna said. Every other mediator has failed. They all use standard diplomatic methods. Maybe I need to try something different. What do you mean? I need to understand what they really want. Not what they say they want, but what they truly need. That could be dangerous. Both sides see questions as signs of weakness. Maybe, but it is better than repeating the same mistakes. Dr. Choi nodded. You are different from other diplomats. Most of them come here with prepared speeches and formal proposals. You come with questions. Questions might be more useful than answers right now. That night, Yuna stood at her window looking at the fleets. The ships moved in slow patterns, never getting too close to each other. It was like watching two groups of wild animals, each waiting for the other to make the first move. Tomorrow, she would meet the aliens who controlled those ships. She would sit in the same room with beings who had killed billions of people. She would try to find something, anything that could stop the war. Just one human woman, she said to herself, against two empires that want to destroy each other. She thought about the colonies full of human families who were counting on her. She thought about the alien soldiers who would die if the war continued. She thought about the responsibility that rested on her shoulders. No pressure at all, she whispered, remembering Director Park's words. But as she watched the ships in the darkness, she felt something she had not expected. She felt determined. These aliens might be stronger than humans, might have better weapons and larger fleets. But they had been fighting for 37 years and had solved nothing. Maybe it was time to try the human way. The next morning, Yuna woke up early. She had barely slept. Her mind kept thinking about the meeting ahead. She dressed in her best diplomatic uniform, dark blue with Earth's symbol on the shoulder. She wanted to look professional, but not threatening. At breakfast, she met Lieutenant Song Hyeri, her aide. Song was young, maybe 25, with bright eyes and quick hands. She had graduated from the Diplomatic Academy just 2 years ago. "Ambassador, I have prepared the meeting room," Song said. "Round table, equal distance from both entrances, neutral lighting. Good. What about recording equipment?" Both sides insisted on their own recording devices. I had to place them where they cannot interfere with each other, in security. Commander Park will have teams outside each entrance. Dr. Choi will be in the observation room in case we need psychological advice. Yuna nodded. "Have you read the files on both delegations?" "Yes, ma'am." The Helix Prime Minister Cleth is known for her precise language. She never uses emotion in negotiations. The Void Admiral Sin prefers direct statements. He sees complex discussions as weakness. Two completely different styles. Yes, previous mediators tried to find middle ground between them. It never worked. "Then we will not try to find middle ground," Yuna said. "We will try something else." "Do you mean I am going to listen? Really listen? Not to what they say, but to what they need." At 10 o'clock, Yuna entered the meeting room. It was large and round, with a polished table in the center. The walls were plain white, with no decorations. That might offend either side. The lighting was soft and even. The Helix delegation entered first. Prime Minister Cleth was tall and thin, with blue skin that seemed to glow slightly. Her eyes were large and completely black. She wore a white robe with geometric patterns. Behind her came 11 other Helix, all dressed in similar robes. "Prime Minister Cleth," Yuna said, standing and bowing slightly. "Welcome. I am Ambassador Lee Yuna, representing Earth," Ambassador Cleth said. Her voice was cold and precise. "We are here because protocol requires a mediator. We do not expect useful results from this meeting. Understand your position." "Prime Minister, please take your seats." The Helix delegation sat on one side of the table. They moved together, like parts of a machine. Each one sat exactly the same distance from the table. Their hands were folded in identical positions. The Void delegation entered next. Admiral Sin was large and dark with a hard shell covering his body. He had 6 arms and moved with quick, jerky motions. His eyes were red and constantly moving. The other Void delegates followed behind him, each one different in size and shape. Admiral Sin, Yuna said, "Thank you for coming. I hope we can find a way forward." "Human," Sin said. His voice was deep and rough. "We come because our government orders it. We do not believe your species understands war. I appreciate your honesty, Admiral. Please, join us." The Void delegation sat across from the Helix. They spread out more, taking up more space. Some leaned forward, others back. They watched the Helix with obvious suspicion. "Now," Yuna said, sitting down. "I know this war has been going on for 37 years. I know both sides have strong reasons for fighting. But before we talk about solutions, I would like to understand the problem better." "The problem is simple," Cleth said. "The Void Dominion has taken resources that belong to us. Logic demands that we recover what is ours. Logic. Sin clicked his mandibles angrily. You speak of logic while you destroy our breeding worlds. Nature demands that we defend our young. Your young were built on territory that was ours first, Cleth replied. We have records proving our claim. Records can be falsified, Sin. I said strength cannot be faked. Una held up her hand. Please? I understand you both have valid concerns. Prime Minister Cleth, would you explain your position in detail? I promise to listen without interruption. Cleth looked surprised. You wish to hear our full argument? Yes. Take as much time as you need. For the next hour, Cleth spoke. She explained the helix position with mathematical precision. She showed charts and graphs. She presented logical arguments for why the disputed territory belonged to them. She calculated the exact resources they had lost because of the war. Una listened carefully. She asked questions only to clarify points, never to argue. She took notes and nodded when she understood. Thank you, Prime Minister, Una said when Cleth finished. That was very clear. Admiral Sin, would you share your perspective? Sin looked confused. You wish to hear our side as well? Of course. I cannot understand the situation without hearing both views. For the next hour, Sin explained the void position. He spoke of biological imperatives and survival instincts. He described how the helix attacks had threatened their species' reproduction, showed images of destroyed worlds where void young had been killed. Again, Una listened without arguing. She asked questions only to understand better. She showed respect for the void way of thinking. Thank you, Admiral, she said when he finished. Both of your presentations have been very helpful. Helpful? Cleth asked. Do you now understand? That we are correct? Do you see that we must defend ourselves? Sin asked at the same time. I see that you both have serious concerns, Una said, and I noticed something interesting. What? Both leaders asked together. You both want the same thing. Impossible, Cleth said. Our goals are completely different. Are they? Una asked. A minister, you want to secure resources for your people's future? Admiral, you want to protect your species' survival? Both of you want security and prosperity for your people. That is too simple, Cleth said. The details matter. The details are important, Una agreed. But the basic goals are similar. You both want your people to be safe and successful. Even if that is true, Sin said, it changes nothing. Still threaten us. We threaten them because they threaten us, Cleth added. Yes, Una said. You are both caught in a cycle. Each side acts to protect itself, which makes the other side feel threatened, which makes them act to protect themselves, which makes you feel threatened. She stood up and walked to a wall screen. Lieutenant Song, please show the casualty reports. Numbers appeared on the screen. Millions of dead from both sides. Hundreds of destroyed worlds. Trillions of credits spent on weapons instead of improving life for citizens. This is what the cycle has cost, Una said. For both sides, the room was quiet. Both delegations stared at the numbers. The war has hurt everyone, Una continued. The Helix have lost millions of citizens and vast resources. The Void have lost breeding worlds and military strength. Side has gained what they wanted. But we cannot surrender, Cleth said. Logic demands that we finish what we started. Surrender is death. Sin agreed. We must win or die. What if there was a third option? Una asked. What if you could? Both get what you need without destroying each other? Impossible, both leaders said. Maybe, but what if it was possible? Would you be willing to consider it? Oh. The room was silent for a long moment. Una could see both delegations thinking. What kind of third option? Cleth asked carefully. I do. Not know yet, Una said honestly, but I think it might exist. Can we explore the possibility together? Admiral Sin clicked his mandibles. You ask us to work with our enemies. I ask you to work with me, Una said. To find a way for both sides to survive and prosper. You are young, Cleth said. You do not understand the complexities of this. Conflict. You are right. I am young. I do not understand everything. Maybe that is good. Maybe I can see things that others have missed. Lieutenant Song whispered something to Una. Una nodded. I have one more thing to show you, she said. Lieutenant Song has been analyzing the war from a different angle. Song, please share your findings. Song stood up nervously. I looked at the military situation from both sides. The numbers show something interesting. She put new charts on the screen. If the war continues, both sides will eventually lose. The Helix will run out of energy resources in 15 years. The Void will lose too many breeding worlds to maintain their population. That is not correct, Cleth said. Our calculations show victory in 12 years. Our projections show triumph in 10 years, Sin added. Both projections assume the other side will not develop new weapons, Song said, but they will.
Ow.
And when they do, the war will last longer and cost more. She showed more numbers. Mathematics are clear. Continuing the war will destroy both empires, not quickly, but slowly, like a slow poison. The room was very quiet. Both delegations stared at the projections. These numbers, ... Cleth began. Are accurate, Song finished? I used both sides' own data. This changes things, Sin said slowly. It changes everything, Yuna said. The question is, what do we do about it? The meeting room was silent for several minutes. Now both delegations stared at the numbers on the screen. The mathematics were clear and frightening. If the war continued, both empires would slowly destroy themselves. Prime Minister Cleth was the first to speak. These calculations. They assume no technological breakthroughs. We might develop new energy sources. We might, Yuna agreed. But Admiral Sin's people might develop new biological weapons at the same time. Each advance by one side pushes the other side to advance as well. An arms race, Lieutenant Song added. Both sides spend more and more resources on weapons, less and less on improving life for their people. Admiral Sin shifted in his chair. Even if these numbers are correct, stopping the war is not simple. My people will see it as surrender. My government will call it logical failure, Cleth said. We cannot appear weak. What if you did not have to appear weak? Yuna asked. What if both sides could claim success? How? Both leaders asked. By changing the game entirely. Yuna walked back to the wall screen. Lieutenant Song, show them the galactic survey data. New images appeared. Maps of the galaxy showing explored and unexplored regions, large areas. Marked in red showed zones where no one had ever traveled. While you have been fighting each other, Yuna said, the rest of the galaxy has remained a mystery. There are thousands of star systems out there.
Oh.
Many probably have resources. Some might have life. Exploration is expensive, Clef said. Requires ships and people we cannot spare during wartime. Exactly, Yuna said. Duh, but what if the war ended? What if you could use those ships for exploration instead of fighting? The unknown regions could contain threats, Sin pointed out. Dangerous species, hostile environments. They could, Yuna agreed, or they could contain opportunities. New worlds. New resources. New allies. She changed the display to show resource. Estimates. Scientists believe the unexplored regions contain more resources than all current empires combined. Your scientists could be wrong, Clef said. They could be. But they could also be right. The only way to know is to look. Yuna sat down again. Both of your empires are strong. Both have advanced technology. Both have experienced military forces. You could explore the galaxy much faster working together than fighting each other. Work together? Sin's voice was shocked. With them. Impossible, Cleth said. Our species are too different. Different can be good, Yuna said. The Helix are excellent at planning and organization. The Void are good at adapting to new environments. Together, you could handle any challenge. You make it sound simple, Cleth said, but trust takes time. To build, we have been enemies for 37 years. Small steps, Yuna said. Start with something easy. Test the idea. Sin asked. Before Yuna could answer, her communicator beeped. It was Commander Park. Ambassador, we have a priority message from Earth. It is marked urgent. Excuse me, Yuna said to the delegations. I need to take this call. Of the meeting room, Commander Park was waiting in the corridor with a datapad. What is it? Yuna asked. Our deep space monitoring stations detected something unusual. Look at this. The datapad showed sensor readings from the galactic core. Strange energy patterns unlike anything in the databases. What am I looking at? We are not sure. But 3 minor species in the core region have gone silent in the past month. Their home systems are not responding to any communications. Equipment failure? All 3 species at the same time? Our analysts think something destroyed them. Una felt cold. Or something from the galactic core that we never noticed before? Either way, it is moving outward. Toward the spiral arms where the major empires are located. How long before it reaches Helix or Void territory? If it continues at the same speed, maybe 10 years for the outer regions, 20 years for the core worlds. Una looked back at the meeting room door. Both empires are so focused on fighting each other, they have no idea about this. Should we tell them? Yes, but carefully. This could be the key to everything. Una returned to the meeting room. Both delegations were arguing quietly among themselves. They stopped when she entered. My apologies for the interruption, she said, but I have information that changes our discussion. She uploaded the sensor data to the wall screen. This morning, Earth's monitoring stations detected unusual activity in the galactic core. The screen showed the energy patterns and the silent star systems. Both delegations leaned forward to study the data. What are we seeing? Cleth asked. We're not sure, but 3 species have disappeared from the core region. The worlds are no longer sending any signals. Equipment problems? Sin suggested. Possible, but unlikely for all 3 at once. Una highlighted the pattern on the map. Whatever this is, it appears to be moving outward from the galactic center. Toward us, Cleth said quietly. Toward everyone, Una corrected. This could be a natural phenomenon, or it could be something intelligent, something hostile. Our own sensors have detected nothing, Sin said. Because you've been watching each other, Una pointed out. Your monitoring equipment faces inward, toward the war zone. Not outward, toward the galaxy. Both delegations studied the data more carefully. Una could see concern growing on their faces. This is a threat, Cleth said slowly. It could reach our territories in 10 to 20 years. While you are still fighting each other. Weakened by war, Sin added. Unable to respond effectively. Exactly. This is why I suggested working together, not just for exploration, but for defense. Lieutenant Song stood up. I ran some calculations during the break. If both empires combined their resources to investigate this threat, they could send a proper exploration mission within 6 months. Together we could learn what this is and how dangerous it might be, Una continued. Separately, fighting each other, you might not discover the threat until it is too late. This could be coincidence, Cleth said. The disappearances might not be connected. They might not be, Una agreed. But can you afford to assume that? Can either of you take the risk of being wrong? The room was quiet again. Both sides were thinking hard. What exactly are you proposing? Sin asked. A temporary ceasefire. 6 months. Both sides work together to investigate the galactic core. Situation. If it turns out to be nothing, you can go back to war. If it is a real threat, you work together to face it. And the disputed territories? Cleth asked. Stay as they are during the ceasefire. No changes. Everything frozen while you investigate. Our governments would need to approve this, Sin said. Of course, I am not asking for a final decision today. I am asking you to consider the possibility. Cleth turned to her delegation. They spoke quietly. In their own language, their voices were musical, like singing mathematics. Sin did the same with his group. The Void delegation clicked and hissed as they discussed the proposal. After several minutes, both groups turned back to Una. We need more information, Cleth said, about this galactic core phenomenon, about the proposed investigation mission, about how the ceasefire would work. We need guarantees, Sin added. Ways to make sure the other side does not cheat. Of course, Una said. We can work out all the details. The important question is, are you both willing to consider it? The logical thing to do is gather more data before making a decision, Cleth said. Survival requires adapting to new situations, Sin said. Is that a yes? Yuna asked. It is not a no, Cleth said carefully. It is a maybe, Sin added. For the first time in days, Yuna smiled. Maybe is more than anyone has achieved in 30 years of war. Do not celebrate yet, human, Sin warned. Maybe is not yes, but maybe is not no either, Yuna said. Maybe is where all great changes begin. The next morning, Yuna woke up feeling hopeful for the first time since arriving at Nexus Station. Both delegations had agreed to continue talks. It was a small step, but it was progress. She met Lieutenant Song in the dining hall for breakfast. Song looked tired, but excited. Ambassador, I worked all night on the technical details, Song said. I think I have a plan that could work. Show me. Song spread out data pads on the table. First, the investigation mission. We need a joint fleet with ships from both empires. Equal numbers, equal command structure. How do we make sure neither side cheats? Human observers on every ship. We provide the neutral monitoring that both sides need. Yuna studied the plans. What about crew size? Small teams? Maybe 50 people total. Scientists, not soldiers. The goal is to learn, not to fight. Good. What about the ceasefire terms? 6 months, like you suggested. All military operations stop. No new weapons production. No ship movements toward. Disputed zones. Enforcement. Human patrol ships along the border. Again, we provide neutral monitoring. Yuna nodded. This could work, but we need to make it attractive to both sides. I thought about that too. Song showed her another data pad. Look at the benefits each side gets. The screen showed 2 columns. What? One for the Helix Confederation, one for the Void Dominion. What for? The Helix Song explained, they get access to Void biological data. Their scientists have always wanted to study Void adaptation techniques, and for the Void, they get Helix energy technology. Imagine if they could power their bioships with Helix energy cores. Interesting. Both sides gain something they cannot get alone. Exactly. Plus, if there really is a threat from the galactic core, they learn about it before it reaches them. Dr. Choi approached their table. He looked worried. Ambassador, may I join you? Of course, Doctor. What is it? I've been studying both delegations. Behavior. They are interested in your proposal, but they are also scared. Scared of what? Scared of looking weak to their own people? Both leaders have built their careers on being strong against the enemy. If they agree to work together, some of their supporters might see it as betrayal. Yuna put down her coffee cup. How do we handle that? We need to give them a way to save face. They need to look like heroes, not people who gave up heroes. About it. If this galactic core threat is real, the leaders who discover it first will be heroes. They will be the ones who saved their people from danger. Song looked up from her data pads. That is brilliant. We frame this as discovery, not surrender. Both sides become explorers and protectors, Dr. Choi continued. Not defeated enemies making peace. At 10 o'clock, the 3 groups met again. In the conference room, both alien delegations looked more relaxed than the day before. They sat in the same positions, but the tension was less. Prime Minister Admiral Yuna began, "Thank you for continuing these discussions. Lieutenant Song has prepared detailed proposals for your consideration." Song stood up and activated the wall display. "We have designed a joint investigation mission. Equal participation from both empires. Shared command, shared discoveries." The screen showed ship designs and crew assignments. Everything was carefully balanced. The mission would last for months, Song continued. 2 months to reach the galactic core region. 1 month to investigate, 1 month to return. What about our regular territories? Cleth asked. Complete ceasefire during the investigation. No military operations, no new weapons, no territorial changes. Who enforces this ceasefire? Sin asked. Human patrol ships, Yuna said. We provide neutral monitoring. If either side breaks the ceasefire, we report it to the galaxy community. Humans. As police? Sin sounded doubtful. Humans as witnesses, Yuna corrected. We do not have the power to stop you. But we can tell everyone what we see. Reputation damage, Klett said. That could be effective. Song continued her presentation. The investigation ships would be joint crews, Helix and Void scientists working together. Each ship would have human observers to prevent conflicts. What kind of investigations? Asked a Helix scientist from the delegation. First, we visit the 3 silent star systems. We learn what happened there. Then we track the energy patterns back toward there. Source dangerous, Sin pointed out. Yes, but less dangerous than being surprised by an unknown threat while you are fighting each other. Yuna stood up. There's something else. Dr. Choi has pointed out an important benefit I had not considered. What benefit? Klett asked. It's whichever. Leaders approve this investigation will be heroes to their people. You will be the ones who discovered a galactic threat. It's the ones who protected your empires from danger. You could see both leaders thinking about this. Even if the investigation finds nothing dangerous, Yuna continued, you will still be the leaders who were wise enough to look, who were careful enough to check, who put the safety of their people above personal pride. And if we do find a real threat, Sin asked, then you will be the leaders who saved the galaxy, who brought 2 great empires together to face a common enemy. The room was quiet. Both delegations were having whispered conversations among themselves. There's one more thing, Song said. Now, the investigation would share all discoveries. Both empires would learn everything we find, including new technologies. Asked a Void engineer. Including everything. New materials, new energy sources, new biological discoveries. Shared equally between both sides. That is significant, Klett said. Our scientists have calculated that the galactic core might contain resources unknown in the spiral arms, and life forms that could teach us new adaptation techniques, added a Void biologist. Yuna could see the mood changing. Both sides were becoming more interested in the possibilities than worried about the risks. How would decisions be made during the investigation? Sin asked. Joint command structure, Song explained. Every major decision requires agreement. From both Helix and Void commanders, if they cannot agree, the human observer makes the final choice. Humans deciding for us? Klett did not sound happy. Only when you cannot decide for yourselves, Yuna said. And only about the investigation, not about your empires. Think of it as arbitration, Dr. Choi added. Neutral party breaking ties. Commander Park's voice came over the intercom. Ambassador, we have an urgent message from Earth. Excuse me, Yuna said. She stepped outside the conference room. Commander Park was waiting with another datapad. More sensor data from the galactic core? It is not good news. Yuna read the report quickly. Another species has gone silent? Yes, the 4th one in 6 weeks. And the energy patterns are getting stronger. How much stronger? 10 times more? Powerful than when we first detected them. Show me the projection. The datapad displayed a map of the galaxy. A red zone showed the area of strange activity. It was growing larger. At this rate, Commander Park said, the phenomenon will reach the outer territories of both empires in 5 years, not 10. 5 years, maybe less. The expansion seems to be accelerating. Yuna looked back at the conference room door. I need to tell them. Will it help or hurt the negotiations? I think it will help. This makes the threat much more urgent. Yuna returned to the conference room. Both delegations looked at her expectantly. I have new information about the galactic core situation, she said. It is more serious than we thought. She uploaded the new data to the wall screen. The expanded red zone was clearly visible. A 4th species has gone silent. And the energy patterns are getting much stronger. How much stronger, Klett asked. 10 times more powerful? The affected area is growing faster. Time frame, Sin asked. 5 years to reach your outer territories? Maybe less? Both delegations stared at the map. The red zone looked like a spreading disease. This is no longer a distant possibility, Yuna said. This is an immediate threat to both your empires. Decision time, Dr. Choi said quietly. Yes, Yuna agreed. Decision time. The conference room was completely silent. Both delegations stared at the red zone spreading across the galactic map. 5 years was not very long. not long enough to finish their war and then deal with a new threat. Prime Minister Cleth spoke. First, if these calculations are correct, we have a serious problem. Both of us, Admiral Sin added. This threat does not care about our war. No, Una agreed. It treats all life equally, as something to be destroyed. Cleth turned to her delegation. They spoke quickly in their musical language. Una could not understand the words, but she could hear the urgency in their voices. Sin did the same with his group. The Void delegation clicked and hissed more loudly than before. Several of them gestured at the map with their multiple arms. We need to contact our governments, Cleth said finally. How long will that take? Una asked. Our ships can reach Helix space in 12 hours, Cleth replied. Ours can reach the Void capital in 10 hours, Sin said. And how long for your leaders to make a decision? Unknown, both leaders said together. Dr. Choi stepped forward. May I suggest something? Yes, Una said. Both of your governments sent you here with authority to negotiate. They trust your judgment. Instead of asking for permission, why not recommend action? You want us to make this decision ourselves? Cleth asked. You're the ones who have seen the evidence, Dr. Choi said. You understand the threat better than anyone back home. But if we are wrong, Sin began. If you are wrong about the threat, you waste 6 months on an investigation, Una said. If you are wrong about doing nothing, your empires might be destroyed. Lieutenant Song activated a new display. I calculated the risks both ways. The cost of the investigation is small. The cost of ignoring the threat could be everything. The numbers were clear. The investigation would cost resources, but not many. Ignoring a real threat could cost billions of lives. There is something else to consider, Commander Park said, entering the room. My security teams report that both of your fleets are getting restless. They have been facing each other for a week. Some captains are asking for permission to attack. Our people are warriors, Sin said. They do not like waiting. Logic suggests that waiting serves no purpose if we are not moving toward a solution, Cleth added. Then let us give them a solution, Una said. Give them a mission that serves both empires. She walked to the center of the room. Right now, your fleets are pointing weapons at each other, hundreds of ships ready to destroy each other. What if those same ships were pointing toward the galactic core instead? Ready to investigate and defend against a real threat? You want us to turn our fleets around? Sin asked. Want you to give them a new mission? A mission that makes them heroes instead of victims. Cleth was quiet for a long moment. The mathematics are compelling. Investigation costs little but could save everything. Our survival instincts say the same thing, Sin said. But better to face a known enemy together than an unknown enemy alone. So you agree? Una asked. We agree that the situation requires action, Cleth said carefully. We agree that cooperation is logical given the circumstances, Sin added. Is that a yes? Both leaders looked at their delegations. The other aliens nodded slowly. Yes, Cleth said. Yes, Sin said. For a moment, Una could not believe it. After 37 years of war, both sides had just agreed to work together. Excellent, she said, trying to keep her voice calm. Lieutenant Song, please prepare the formal agreement documents. Already done, Song said with a smile. I prepared them last night. The next few hours were busy. Both delegations worked together to finalize the details. Human observers would monitor the ceasefire. Joint crews would staff the investigation ships. All discoveries would be shared equally. The most difficult part was deciding who would command the mission. Neither side wanted to take orders from the other. Joint command, Una suggested. 2 commanders, 1 from each empire. Make decisions together. What if they disagree? Cleth asked. Then they talk until they agree, Una said. What commanders do, and if they cannot agree, then they remember that their people are depending on them to find a solution. By evening, everything was ready. Both delegations had signed the agreement. The ceasefire would begin immediately. The investigation mission would launch within 2 weeks. Una stood in the observation deck, watching the alien fleets. Slowly, the ships were moving away from their battle positions. The Helix fleet formed neat lines pointing toward their home territory. The Void fleet spread out in loose formations, also heading home. It is really happening, Lieutenant Song said, joining her at the window. Yes, they are going home to prepare for cooperation instead of war. Dr. Choi and Commander Park joined them. I never thought I would see this, Commander Park said. Two empires that have hated each other for decades, working together. Fear is a powerful motivator, Dr. Choi said. But so is hope. What do you mean? Yuna asked. They are not just afraid of the galactic threat. You're excited about the possibilities, new discoveries, new technologies, new worlds to explore. The human approach, Commander Park said. Find something bigger than the problem. That night, Yuna sat in her quarters writing her report to Earth. She tried to explain what had happened, but the words seemed too simple. Two galactic empires have agreed to end their war and work together to investigate a potential threat from the galactic core. The ceasefire begins immediately. Investigation mission launches in 2 weeks. She deleted the message and started. Again, something impossible happened today. We found a way to turn enemies into allies. Not by forcing them to make peace, but by giving them something more important to do than fight each other. She deleted that too, and wrote a simple message. Mission successful. War ending. Investigation beginning. Recommend immediate preparation. For larger galactic cooperation efforts, the next morning, delegations from both empires were preparing to leave. They would return to their home worlds to organize the investigation. Mission and announce the ceasefire. Prime Minister Cleth approached Yuna as she was packing. Ambassador Lee, Cleth said. I must admit something. What is that, Prime Minister? When I first met you, I thought humans were too simple to understand complex problems. I was wrong. You were not wrong, Yuna said. Humans are simple. Sometimes simple is better than complex. How so? Complex thinking finds complex problems. Simple thinking finds simple solutions. Admiral Sin joined them. Human ambassador, my government wishes to know something. Yes. Will your people help us with the investigation? Not just as observers, but as partners. If you want our help, we will give it. We do. Your species sees things differently than we do. That might be useful when facing an unknown threat. Might be, Yuna agreed, as both delegations departed. Yuna watched their ships join together in the same convoy. Helix vessels and void ships flying side by side for the first time in 37 years. Captain Kim approached her. Ready to go home, Ambassador? Yes, but I think this is just the beginning. Beginning of what? Something new? Something bigger than any of us expected? As the Harmony left Nexus Station, Yuna looked back one last time. The station that had hosted the end of a galactic war was now quiet, but not empty. It would be used again, she was sure, for more negotiations, more cooperation, more impossible things becoming possible. 3 months later, Yuna received a message from the Joint Investigation Fleet. They had reached the galactic core and discovered something amazing. Not a threat, but an ancient civilization that had been sending signals for help. The energy patterns were not weapons, but distress calls. The investigation had turned into a rescue mission. Helix logic and void adaptability, working together, had saved an entire species from extinction. More importantly, both empires had discovered that cooperation gave them power they never had alone. The war was officially over. Investigation had become exploration. Enemies had become partners. And it had all started with one human woman who believed that listening was more powerful than fighting. The galaxy was changing. Humanity had shown the way.